Good morning, everyone. Mike McConville here one more time, Stratford, Ontario for String Tech Workstations. We've got a SG Standard here for Ryan. We also have Ryan's, it's like an L Degas Les Paul that, let me bring you in a little closer. You can see there's a problem with the alignment. So as I bring you in closer, you'll see that the first string runs right off of the neck at the top end there. So we've got to pull those posts. It's a wraparound bridge and shift that bridge over. This is a tenon and mortise, so you can't just move the neck over. Anyway, we'll give you play-by-play as always. This is a better view of the string space. You can see it also doesn't line up with the pickup. So we're going to pull those posts out, fill it in, re-drill, and shift that bridge over to the right spot. Now this is a replacement bridge, a nice wraparound, intonated wraparound bridge. So there's lots of adjustment for the intonation. These are 9 to 46 strings he's using, concert pitch. And of course we'll be putting an intonated nut on this one as well. I'm just getting ready to heat up this SG nut and remove that, so we'll give you kind of play-by-play on that. I heat this up with a hairdryer on high for 4 minutes to soften the lacquer. This needs to be done on Gibson nuts to get them out ultra clean. Okay, we've given that the full 4 minutes. I'm just going to heat up my razor knife on the buffer here. We're going to score this. Score this across the bottom. That's what we want. Other side, same thing. And across this back edge. Good chance we'll just have to split this in half. It's probably super glued into place. But yeah, I'm going to heat that up just a little bit more. So let's see if we have any luck getting this one out. Yeah, it's in there pretty tight. Ooh. Oh, looks like we got lucky here. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Oh yeah, that came out ultra clean. Okay. Let me bring in for a closer look before I touch up these edges. So this is what I wanted to point out. You see that little flap of black lacquer? Well, on the Gibson nuts, you can see this is where I scored it, just above. And the reason I do that is the actual finish overlaps the bottom part of the nut. Now this is not the case with Epiphone or other guitars, but with Gibson it is. So this is where I push to the inside and get a nice crisp edge for that new compensated nut. We're going to go around the other side and do the same thing. And this came out pretty clean. It looks good just the way it is, but I'm just touching it up ever so slightly. And we're doing a full fret dress on this anyway, so I wanted that nut out of there. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. That came out super clean. And now we'll proceed with the fret level crown and polish. So these frets are very flat on top, and this affects your intonation. So we're going to chase those crowns right back to dead center as we level crown and polish. A little bit extra wear in that first position, especially the first 3 strings, but that's okay. We'll take care of that. One thing about Gibson is they're pretty generous with the size of the crown of the fret. This gives you lots to work with. So we'll take care of that proverbial speed bump at the neck to body junction, and then level, crown, and polish end to end. Okay, I've got those inlays masked off. I've got that neck adjusted so it is as straight as possible, and we're going to go end to end first and level this. So we got that neck where we want it. I'm going to start at this top end. I can feel that grabbing. And again, and I've said in so many other videos, you've got to move obliquely. I'm moving along the string path. I'm not turning the file, but I'm moving obliquely across the frets to follow that curvature. And then I cross hatch, I go in the opposite direction. Most of the disparity seems to be on the bass side. And you can hear the file grabbing. And on the treble side, there's nothing. Yeah, it's pretty well all on the bass side. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of backing up the neck, making my way towards the nut. It seems to be on the bass side all the way along, actually. So, yeah, nothing on the treble side. Oh yeah, I can feel that grabbing. Okay. It's the bass side all the way along. This is the file that I send out in the kits to you guys. And of course these are the fret guards that I include in those kits. And we're just about there. Beautiful. Okay, we pretty well got that dead level. Like I said earlier in the video, one thing about Gibson is they're pretty generous with the crown of the fret, so we've got lots of real estate to play with here. And that is it. Yeah, happy with that. Let me bring you in for the recrowning. Like I've mentioned to my students for years, these Hosco files you can get online. There's all kinds of people that sell them. Of course, they want to sell you a set of 3, but realistically, if you have the bass file, I can do a mandolin fret with the bass file. So the purpose of the crowning file is not to file the center of the crown. It's to chase the crown or encourage it back to center before we go on to the next stage. So you can see how wide that tooling, the swath of the leveling file is, and we want to keep our strokes kind of equal on each side to encourage that crown of the fret, the top of the crown, back to center. You want to keep a real close eye as you're working here and avoid touching the actual center of the crown, because we've leveled that already now along the string path. So I'm starting in the highest part of the crown, the center of the fingerboard, and moving towards the outside edge, stroke for stroke, side to side. Now these frets were very flat from previous work, so this will really encourage those strings to contact the dead center of the fret, which obviously affects your intonation. Make my way up here. So as I get away from the body, I'm clear of the body, I can actually go right across full length on either side. It's only up here where there's a danger of actually touching the body where I start in the center and work towards the outside edge. I'll come around the other side and work this way to finish this area here. Yeah, this is a pretty serious recrowning. It needed quite a bit of attention to get this to really behave. This will be set up for 9 to 46 strings at concert pitch. Around the other side and finish off this top end. So I'm bringing you in nice and close. So this way you get a chance to really see what the fret looked like. This is after leveling. You see how it's flat on top like that? And this is after crowning. So we've decreased the swath of the tooling mark of the leveling file to just a little strip across the center of the crown. I wanted to show you that before I finish this up so you can see exactly where we're going with this. All of the upper frets have already reached this stage. So we'll continue with these last 7 frets and coax that squareness back to center. Well, the camera's running. This way you'll get a good close look at exactly what I'm doing here. You'll see I've never once touched the center of the crown. We're just encouraging the crown back to center, but not finishing the job with the crowning file. We'll do that next stage. Well, this guitar has certainly been played. You can see the marks along the string path on the various strings. Now all of these faint marks that you see here, they'll be gone. We'll take them out the next stage of crowning. So we're just thinning out that tooling swath on the crown of the fret before we go to the next stage. Okay, we're ready. The objective here is to remove the tooling marks of the file. And to accomplish that, we use a 400 grit paper and we go end to end. And these are the scrub blocks that I've included in all these kits that I'm sending out. This is the heel, this is the toe. So as you push this way, you get this side of the fret. As I pull this way, I get that side of the fret. So it's basically heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. And I'll just slip that along the block to get a little more use out of my sandpaper. I'm going to bring you in for a second and show you after this first pass with the 400 grit the difference. I have the sandpaper stacked on the block. I got 2 pieces of 400. We just finished that first piece. Now we'll go with the second piece. Okay. I'm going to bring you in for a look before I continue with the 600 grit. So this is what we got after that first pass of 400 grit. And that has taken out the lion's share of the leveling marks from the leveling file. Now I've got two pieces of 600 grit, same thing, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Slip it along the block, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. That's our first piece of 600. Second piece of 600. And slip that along. Okay, we're going to come in for another look before I go to the 1200 grit. So that is what we have now. I'm going to finish up with the 1200 grit, and I'll bring you in again. You know, you can hear the difference on how smooth the frets are getting just as we go to a finer and finer grit. Still not quite done yet. Before I get the buffer out, I'm going to bring you around the other side. We're going to get a really close look at this thing. Okay, so here we go. We're done with our 1200 grit. And this is what we have now. Yeah, you can pick up this red compound or jeweler's rouge. Most body shop supply places will carry this stuff. So I'm going to load up that straw. And we're ready to buff. With the Gibsons, 2 words of caution here. With the Gibson guitars, you got those beautiful little plastic nibs along the edge. Do not linger in one spot with this thing or you'll burn through the plastic. And this is the same reason why I've masked off those soft plastic inlays. So here we go. The other thing that I've mentioned in other videos is I do not have infinite torque on this thing. If I push down, it stops. You're polishing the frets, but you don't want your die grinder wide open. And now this is our final touch. We're kind of cleaning up the compound. Okay, so before I do any ripping, I just want to play this thing. And let you hear just how accurately it's in tune. Here's an A minor 9, first position. Same chord, an octave higher. And all your garden variety chords that you never play on a Gibson. Okay, so there's a G. C. F. A. Okay, here we go, moment of truth now for this SG. So I laid down the chords for this G minor blues thing. It goes like this.